Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever it is in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media universe. It is August 21st, 2024, one day closer to the sun going supernova and all of your crypto problems being solved. But until that happens, you got to tune into this show to learn what's going on in the markets, how to trade, how to do whatever, how not to get wrecked out there. And the person that tells you how not to get wrecked out there is whom, ladies and gentlemen? That's right, my co-host, Pedro Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, Pedro Garcia in the house.
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing? How are things? How is life going for Tom?
Life's going good, but life is busy since I tried to think about focusing on broadcasting on X today. I didn't get the social medias out correctly. So, Pedro, tell everybody what they're supposed to do.
If you guys can do us a quick little favor, hit that like, subscribe, and share button. As I always say, to your preferred social media platform or to your unpreferred social media platform. Because the more people you send it to, the more people can watch and check us out and get the alpha that we bring to the table, and or just hear our laugh at our there you go at our own outtakes that are live. And one day somebody's going to go through and put a huge reel of those together and just laugh at us. So, and I look forward to laughing at myself as well. But until then, please share, like, and more importantly, send it to preferred or unpreferred social media platforms out there. So we'd appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's weird. It's not doing the, not working with Twitch today. All right, I'll just have to do this manually.
Don't you love it when that
not
happens?
not working with Twitch. Interesting. Or nor Kick, nor LinkedIn, nor Facebook.
Yeah, I was waiting.
Just YouTube and X. I just upgraded the great comment machine. And it's not working. Anyway, well, we get that sorted out. I wonder if anyone got the message about the show here. Very few, obviously. But thanks everybody tuning in on X. Appreciate it. Let's hear some comments here. Let's see some comments, ladies and germs. And let's get some background lo-fi going. Oh no, that's that's the Lord of Baltimore music. We haven't seen him in a while.
Hilarious, dude.
Just a little subtle lo-fi for everyone here, just to, remember this intro I used to do?
Dude, that was nuts, bro. That was great, but I don't think it meets. I just don't think it's our vibe. I like the one that we have. We're more of a jovial, relaxed, chill group of people, and that fits us. The other one is just like, which is awesome. I just don't think it's our vibe. You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's get the let me get the usual notifications going in Telegram here. While Pedro, you're telling us all about Bitcoin.
What's going on with Bitcoin? So, Bitcoin currently right now, we're sitting at this supply area that we brought up way back when we were down in this level here. So you can see how we've played off of this now, sold off, and come back up. And now we are retesting this. It's going to be really interesting to see if it holds. Now, yesterday, we did sell through that 50 period moving average sitting right here into our supply zone. So, or we didn't sell through the supply zone, but this is getting eaten away. So if this thing does not hold, the next thing that we can actually sit there and see is going to be the one that is up at these higher levels. So let's go ahead and pull that up here real quick, because as it moves, we can sit there and see what's actually happening in this industry. So let me pull this up here real quick. So this 66,927 and 66,328 could potentially be the next supply area that we hit before we start to see it come down. Now let's see where this sits on the higher time frames here. So it hits there, and that's a bomb beat. The only problem is it is screaming in my ear.
Oh yeah, let me fix that.
Yeah, but I do like it quite a bit. So you guys can see right here. So this is going to be a fairly decent area here. Let me pull this up. Check.
Be lower now for you.
Yes, that's actually awesome. Boom, boom. Ooh, and I'm gonna do that, which was actually pretty cool though. This, there we are. So.
Oh, I got the LinkedIn working. How about that? Welcome, everyone.
Thanks for having us, guys. You guys over at LinkedIn, good to have you guys. You guys are silent, but you are a faithful crew over there, so we appreciate you. So right here.
Oh, let's see. What do we got going on here? What are we going over here? BTC don't have the graphics up here. Let's put those up. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Pedro Garcia in the house doing a crypto chart review of BTC for you new viewers on X. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Definitely.
Our little show here is sponsored by BidFi Exchange. I got something new up here. I got the QR code in the banner here right below me. And it works. You can scan it with your phone and takes you to sign up for BidFi, where you can get, if you deposit $100, they'll give you $100. There's a new campaign going. We got 9 days left in it.
Nice.
If you want some free monies, get it. You can't just withdraw it right away. You have to trade with it. But if you make profits with it, you can withdraw that. So what better is than getting some free money from BidFi?
All right, so
do it
and do it well. Remember, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Okay, so let's check this out real quick. So right now, as we're pulling up, you can see here on the daily aspect, I've spotlighted this one at the 66,800 to the 66,348. This is a decent level. I do like it somewhat. It's not a super strong zone, but I would still sit there and say we are going to have some form of reaction potentially off of this. So today you can see how we put in a lower high here, but we put in a higher low here. So a lower high and a higher low. So depending on what happens here, if we continue up, as soon as we get above this high, we are going to be putting in then a new higher high. So I'm going to have to change my bias, but it all depends on how it puts it in. If this thing screams up and hits this 200 period moving average within the 100, see this little area right here? The blue is the 89, the 100 is the 63,978, and the 200 is sitting in between sitting at 63,071. So this area right here is potentially a magnet for buyers to want to, or sellers to want to short at, as institutions push this up. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens here. But within crypto, we all know that a simple flick of a wrist, basically Kamala saying, hey, I'm pro crypto, can easily send this thing to new all-time highs. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens. And which I've heard, through the grapevine, that she is warming up to the idea of crypto because, well, one, swing state votes are kind of dependent on that. And she's realizing how important it is. And two, I think her advisors, like you said perfectly yesterday, that her advisors is really going to be, this is imperative, right? And my fear is that she's going to put Gensler, she's talked about putting Gensler at the head of the Treasury, which I
can't fathom that. I just cannot fathom that.
Dude, I mean, which would be totally, like you say you're pro crypto, but then you put Gensler at the top there. We're gonna immediately sit there and go BS. There's just no way, so hopefully she's got a good advisor to sit there and say, and then to not acknowledge it, to sit there, if you're gonna sit there and say I'm pro crypto and not acknowledge Gensler, who's been basically Lord Baltimore for he who must not be named, right? Yes, I am a nerd. I have no problem in it.
You're talking about Lord Baltimore, but but all I could hear was Lord Baltimore's cultist chant.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. So this is, he who must not be named in crypto. So it's one of those things that I think is really interesting. So I bring that up here with the side note of this TA could get all blown out by there's an old tweet that was tweeted on or X, excuse me, it was a post on X, and it was really interesting. Is one of the things they talked about was how Trump's tweets could destroy anybody's technical analysis, right? And so any trader would sit there and like as soon as he traded or as soon as he posted something, everybody was out of a trade instantly because it was like you didn't know where it was going to go. So it's really interesting to see what's happening here today with her. And I think she'll be a little bit more kind of relaxed, but we'll find out what happens. So if this hits this level and we see that 50 period moving average step inside, you're really loud in my ear. I don't know why. It starts cool and then it just keeps getting louder and louder. So I don't understand why.
What does?
The music in you.
God. Well, that would not be me then, because my volume is not changing at all.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, that would explain the reason why then. Alrighty then, that's my issue, my fault. Okay, so you can see here right now with the 50 period sitting right here, it's acted as support. And then once we sold through, you can see here as it comes back up, it's now acting as resistance as we move up. Now we did not put in a lower high here, or excuse me, a lower low here. We put in a lower high, and so now the idea is behind this is this potentially could be pushing through this area here to put in a new higher high. So we'll find out what happens here. If this does hold, that 50 period moving average does hold, which is sitting at about it's the gray number right here. That's that 61,473-ish area. So this area here is one of those things. If this holds, it should put in a lower high, but I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to hold. I think we're going to actually push through this area and push up to a new level where it's going to put a higher high in. We're seeing a nice little, we saw a little bit of volume come in yesterday. So it all depends on what they're going to do. If they can finish off today as a green on this Friday, over the weekend, we should push into a higher high here. So I'm expecting this to get up to these levels up in that 63,070 area and that 63, potentially $978. So we could be flirting with this by the end of the week.
Wow, the rare time when we come on here and Pedro's saying we going higher, baby.
I know.
Going higher.
Well, I got to look at the market and see.
Do you know the bull market started when Pedro says it's going higher?
I didn't say the bull market is going to start. I just say
we're going to the moon now. Fuck this 63. Shit's going to 100K in a week, man.
Let's go.
You heard it here first. Hey, you got a little, what's your little advertisement in the corner, bottom left corner there? Can you X that out?
Yeah, unfortunately, because now they want to charge me for a bunch of stupidness, I cannot anymore do that. So,
yeah, you just did.
Yeah, but there you go. So
even when you click that, it comes right back?
Yeah, give it a few minutes.
Oh, man. That sucks.
Yeah, and then it actually will log me out. And then, so unfortunately, that's what I'll probably pay for the basic thing. It just pisses me off that, like, I don't know, they told you what was going to happen, but it's still frustrating me because it's like, it's like they didn't bring any new amazing things to market. All they did was just split up the benefits that they currently have and then put new segments in it. So instead of having 3 tiers, right, they now have, I guess, 6 or 7 tiers, and it limits the same products that you once had at the top tier. And the top tier now is crazy prices. So you're just like, dude, WTF, man. Like,
WTF.
Like, I just don't, like, so I just sit there. I don't want to support them. I don't want to support them for what they've done. It's dumb. So unfortunately, they are the best web-based system right now out there. So it's the current system that we need to use until we get an actual really good crypto charting system where you can actually trade by it. And I believe it's coming as crypto keeps maturing. Sooner or later, we're going to see another king step up, or at least challenge the current king of trading platforms, which is TradingView right now.
Since they control just about all the data, I don't know how that's going to happen.
Ultimately, sooner or later, somebody steps in and says, you know, I can actually do it better this way, and I can do it better that way. I mean, the fact is that one of their primary coders stepped away because the way they were treating him, and they were actually faltering. Their actual system was kind of faltering and getting messed up. That it was like, you know, for a while, they were kind of lagging, even though they were the top guys out there. So, I think personally, if that other top coder was to create, obviously, he probably has an NDA for a while, but those only stay and what's the longest an NDA can do? I think it's 5 or 7 years, something like that. So,
yeah, good question.
Yeah, we should get one.
And depends on the state you're in too.
It's true, and also all that person has to do is go and move outside of the country, and it negates its byte power. So, you know, you go down to Mexico or another place, and you know, you start working on your pet project. All of a sudden, boom! Check this out. You know, then now they're at the fight. So it all depends on what they want to do. But who am I to sit there and say anything? But let's jump back here real quick. How many people do we have on X currently right now?
11.
If you guys could do me a favor and hit on that, just make a comment for us real quick, like simply saying, "Hey, what's up, people?" Even if it's you guys smell funky, and we don't like you, I'm totally okay with it. Like I said, but it's going through and hitting us up, letting us know what's up, letting us know what's going on. Now, the other thing I do want to talk about is this.
What's that, Pedro?
I think it's really interesting. Is BNB? You know what I'm saying?
Pumping.
Yeah, it's starting to pump a little here, right? And I mean, we all heard that. Or did you know? Or do we want to go here yet? Mr. CZ? Yeah, Mr. CZ is out of jail.
No, he's not. I led you into that one.
Oh, what happened?
Wah, wah, wah. Actually, they updated his prisoner transfer record where he is, and he's now in a halfway house.
There we go.
Well, he got moved out of the medium security joint that he was at to a low security halfway house. And for those of you that don't hear that term very often, or halfway house in the U.S. is when you're getting close to being released from prison. They don't just send you out in the streets like the movies say they do. They move you to basically a low security place that's more like home for a transition period. And you know, for people that have been in the joint only a few months, not a big deal. But for people that have been in the joint for 20 years, it is a big deal. They're like, this is a cell phone. You know, there's this thing called the internet. You know, and so it's a transition point. It's basically saying you're being released. There's no hold on him by any government agency saying that they want him for something else or anything like that. He's on his way out, and so that's good. That's good. The rumors went crazy today on the internet saying CZ's free, CZ's free, but it was somebody just misreading his. You know, any federal prisoner you can look up, see where they are, how much time left in their sentence, and all it did was update it to his new location. But I even had the show programmed. CZ's free. Yay. I had to go back and say, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet.
But it's still nice that the man has paid off a few. I mean, he doesn't look like he's tattered. He actually looks like he's pretty good. And which means that there are a lot of prisoners' wives who are driving Bugattis.
You're right. He bought a lot of luxury, a lot of the Escalades around the long Cadillac dealer around the Long Beach prison sold out of Escalades.
Yes, they did. I mean, the man was worth over a couple bills. So, I mean, you know, all you got to do is just tap into the interest that he makes off of his money. So, it's a pretty good. Speaking of interest being, being taxed, or being spent.
We can't possibly be talking about taxing unrealized capital gains.
Why, yes. How did you know we were going to go there? Shocking.
Because the world would come to a complete halt if they tried to do that.
Yes. But here's the thing. Miss Kamala is on the campaign trail, and she is selling everything and promising everything. So really interesting. Now, there was actually a trader who is, I forget the guy's name. He actually has a podcast and pretty cool guy. Grew up in the slums in London. And actually, can I say slums or is that wrong to say now?
Slums is fine.
Okay.
Favelas, barrios, slums, whatever.
Okay. Well, just, you never know. You got to be, I'm trying to be somewhat woke here. But in reality, so there was this trader who grew up and basically climbed his way up, was good in math, climbed his way up through the banking system. And, anybody who understands, if you kind of grow up in an area that's impoverished, if you're good at math, you're typically good in somewhat of business, right? And so that businessman took his skill sets when he was in high school and got into extracurricular activities outside of school that he brought into school. To those who understand, they understand. And so what happened was it taught him how to understand people really well. And he was a bit of a savant when it came to math. So he had the skill sets of kind of the streets, and in addition to it, the academia aspect. And he got into some good schools. And then he was top of his class. And this trader then goes through and then talks about how he got into this one of the top trader guys at his banking, and then started working for the top bank in England, as well as one of the top traders trading one of the top stuff that came along. He was trading interest rates, and there's a lot of money there and a lot of money to be made. And then he goes in to say, when they started talking about, and again, this is England, but I mean, we are sister companies, countries. However you want to see it.
We're the cousins with the good teeth.
Exactly. There we go. We're just more prettier. At least I think we are. I don't know. Anyways, so because they're always gray and gloomy, and we've got a vast, beautiful landscape that we stole. I meant conquered. My bad. That bequeathed to us by divine guidance. My bad.
By guidance by lead.
Yes. Or led by God. There you go. But it was interesting is that he goes in and simply just says this simple little statement that as they were talking about over there were new politicians saying, we're going to tax the rich and we're going to tax traders and we're going to do all these things. And he's like, oh, no, that's going to affect our money. And the guys start laughing. He goes, they're not going to tax us, man. There's no way. We're the ones who get them in office. And then so he goes to the, his older, person who's a trader and goes, is this true? And he goes, oh, absolutely, man. They've been saying this for how many years, man? And they just don't. They overpromise and then they say, oh, I'm sorry. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they actually push out, what is it, a 48% taxes on capital gains? Or excuse me, not unrealized capital gains. Something ridiculous. And I sat there and I was like, dude, this is absolutely crazy talk. I mean, how is it possible they can actually set something up in that level?
Yeah, I think she can pitch that to whip up the anti-billionaire crowd, but those people are already voting for her anyway. I mean, everyone that thinks billionaires are evil is already a Democrat or a communist or however you want to talk about it, because
socialists.
They're already. Oh, those rich people are evil. They just don't do anything to leech off the economy. They always fail to say that someone like Jeff Bezos created a multi-trillion-dollar company, employs 1 million people, how many mortgages, how many kids go to, paid for private school, how many taxes are generated, how much sales tax is generated. I mean, those people are all idiots that believe that. But I think it's just, there's no way Congress would ever pass that, because the president can say whatever they want. Capital gains 100% or free capital gains. Congress, only the House of Representatives can pass the tax policy. Not the Senate, not the president, only the House. In the House, first of all, right, currently run by Republicans, so the Democrats can go piss off. After the election, who knows? Might reverse. But to get enough House of Representative guys to vote for an unrealized capital gains tax, it would be... I mean, they would, all of Congress would have to pay huge amounts of money. And Congress is just not going to vote for something that it's going to cost them tons of money. Imagine the effect on the stock market.
Dude.
I mean, I'm sure there'll be all kinds of if someone did propose it would be like, well, anyone earning under this amount or doesn't count for pension funds and this kind of stuff. They'd carve out, basically anyone that just, has earned over 50 grand, by investing in XRP when it was, oh wait, no, never mind, not XRP. Investing in Bitcoin when it was $800, and they'd be like, well, you got to pay. Or imagine the unrealized capital gain on your house. And all of a sudden people got to take mortgages, second mortgages out just to pay tax.
Just to pay taxes, bro.
So you would borrow to pay tax. That that violates the whole taxation rule.
Well, and it was also up to be people who they had to be over 100 millionaires. So if you had X amount of money sitting, so people who have over $100 million, right? And this is the key where I always say, once you pass that $5 million mark, period in the stock market, and you're well diversed, you now pretty much have an income of about $250,000 yearly. I mean, you're pretty much set once you reach about 5 mil. So, and when I say set, because a lot of times your money is into either interest-bearing systems or dividend yield stocks, however you want to see it. And then that amount of money, and most people live pretty comfortable lives off of about $10,000 to $15,000 a month.
I'd like to have that problem.
Right, exactly. And so, like, ultimately...
hold on, Pedro, quickly. Matt, thanks for joining us. No, your chat is not broken. When we started the show today, YouTube didn't really... I don't know what was going on with it.
I think we're having
but it's a little odd today. With it getting put out there. We do have a decent viewership on X, but they don't... Very few people, and I'm looking at you, everyone on X, you got to click through to the broadcast screen. And when you do that, there's a comment section. Please use it. If you just respond in tweets, that's not the comment section. X has a nice new broadcast screen with comments like YouTube, and you can use it. Use those tips of your fingers and comment. Please, let us know you're here. Sorry to interrupt you there. But
No. But one of the things I think is really interesting is that is for people with over $100 million. So ultimately, when you're sitting, and or like people like Elon, right? Elon Musk is worth billions of dollars, and when I say billions, I mean 200+ billion in stock options, right? And so that when his money kicks off to him, he gets a certain amount of money that he can just live off of, based off of. I mean, even 1% of 200 billion is $2 billion a year, and his capital gains tax is literally sitting at 20% because it's long term. So you and I, let's say we make $200,000, $300,000, we're sitting at 40+%. And so it's a situation in which, when I say the rich aren't really taxed properly, that's one of the primary reasons that they're talking about. Now, I hope one day I can get to that where I can have that issue of, I'm making $2 billion a year, passively, which wouldn't be bad. So there is something to that. I don't disagree with that, but you would also piss off a lot of money, and you would see that money leave America. So, and then that money stays in America because, honestly, in many other places around the world, it's, you're taxed more in a heavier aspect, right? But then that money would then go to the Cayman Islands or would go to Mexico, and all of a sudden Mexico starts to look really nice. All of a sudden, cartels start to get pushed back even further down. I mean, in all reality, that's what we would see. I think that's what we would see. We would see a mass deportation, or the citizenship pickup in Mexico, and and also you start to see enclaves, and Tijuana and things. I mean, just right.
Yeah, it's just I don't know why I don't know what the right word is. Advisors to Kamala would tell her, "Hey, this is a good thing. Let's talk about it." everyone out on the great interwebs is literally talking down Kamala Harris because of it.
Yeah.
And you know that right down the street from me is the Democratic National Convention. And you know for a fact that there's not a single person in that thing that has money to their name is thinking, yeah, that's a good plan. I'm going to need to sell 40% of my stock holdings just to pay taxes on something that I haven't earned yet. Oh, that's a great idea. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, the people are so programmed that they clap. They should be booing. Like, boo.
It's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out, because from a standpoint of her constituents, the majority of Democrats are literally being taken care of by large money. And we're talking like large corporations. They're the ones who are being taken care of. I mean, just the tax side of things. Who do you think runs and makes her look good every time you pull up her name? Right? So, and if you want to do a picture of her, she looks like she's 30, I wouldn't say 30, but 20 years younger and very fit. Right? So, you know, and they're the ones funding them, right? It's just crazy. What do you think about the idea behind like how much crypto is funding the election? Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that. You sent me a story about it, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, I mean, go through it. I'll just kind of recap it real quick, and we just kind of check it out. Crypto has literally funded almost, I think it's 48% out of, I think, like $229 million that has been given to like campaign stuff for this year so far. Like,
oh, I don't believe that.
Well,
what article was that?
This is the one I sent you. You can check it out. And it's probably a lot more, obviously, right? But crypto's funding almost, I think it was like 48% of it. And here's the thing. It's set up in a way where they're doing both sides. If you're pro crypto, we're going to make you look good. If you're not pro crypto, we're not going to give you money and we're not going to make you look good. And right now, because a lot of those swing states are going to be imperative in November, it's going to be really interesting to see, just, who's going to get in office based off of their stance in crypto. And I really do think, like, because of the freedom you get as self-custody, it really is a freedom. And I kept tagging, what was it? Self-custody, true freedom, right? Hashtag. It's one of those things that I think is super important to look at. At least that's my view. Were you able to skim through it, or?
No, I was just confirming that on Monday we're going to have a guest on a DeFi Dojo segment. It's actually finally confirmed for Monday. And Tuesday we're going to have the DeFi Sean on to talk about the Operation Phoenix to Infineon blockchain thing that's going on.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool. I was really interested because we know that they've been working on that for a minute. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they actually do that. It's going to be really interesting. Well,
let's get to the topic of the show today.
Mhm.
That trying to get the interest of a good crypto group, and that would be the XRP community, because they're a vocal bunch here. And I thought I'd throw a little gasoline on the XRP army here, and go with the headline today was where is it? XRP going to zero. Can it go to zero? Pedro, could XRP go to zero?
From a standpoint of money-wise, I don't think so, because there's a lot of investors in that. I mean, it's like sitting there saying that everybody's going to sell. I mean, and XRP is a really great community. I don't necessarily like what their founders are doing, but the community itself, man, they're strong like rock, and they're vast, and they're die hard. I mean, it's almost religious-like, right? So seeing these guys.
B Rocket, thanks for joining us. Yeah. Troublesome Creek, thanks for joining us as well. B Rocket, sounds like you're new to the show. Tell us how you found us. what you're interested in. We'll talk about it on the show too. Sorry to interrupt you, Pedro.
No. SBF screwed those numbers, is what Troublesome said.
Skewed. Yeah. He's
skewed.
Skewed and screwed.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. B Rocket, glad to have you. So in relationship to what we're seeing here, even on the charts, like it's not necessarily a huge push up, but I mean the reality is this: is we are seeing volume coming. You can see over the last month since July here, right? That look, you can see it's more green days than red days. So there's definitely a buyer sentiment in this level. We're definitely seeing bid ask to push the market up versus an ask bid environment. So it's going to be really interesting to see if they can push back this major resistance right here. Now, on a level of the community and them completely just bouncing, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think I mean, they're not that fickle. I mean, they've been through, look what they've been through. I mean, look at this. This is, I don't know anybody. I mean, this is almost as bad as the Bitcoin community and when they first started, right? I mean, these guys went from basically, $3 and came all the way back down to, I will just say this one right here, right? From $2 all the way down to 28 cents. I mean, so the reality.
You gotta move that over, Pedro. We can't see it.
Oh, my bad. Yes. So you can see here that they went from. Here we are. I'll move this up just a little bit more here. You can see right here that they've definitely went from, previous bull market from what is the high of that? Almost $2 all the way down to 28 cents. I mean, that's a 90% drop almost, or an 80+% drop at these levels. So I don't see them going anywhere. If they're buying in at these lower levels, then I see them keep pushing in. They've been holding this long. Now it'd be interesting to see them go back down to 10 cents. If they get down to 10 cents, I think people are going to give up the ghost on this and be like, I'm done.
Well, I don't see, and the reason I brought this up today, I have an article here. System's running slow again here. I don't know why my CPU just jumped up to 100%, and I didn't do anything. But anyway, it'll come up here in a second. The total value locked in XRP has gone down 97% since its high. Now, obviously, the token's gone down a lot, so the value of what's going in it has gone down a lot. But when 97% of the value of what's going on here comes out of your project, that's not good for the liquidity in it. Why? Come on, man! You got to come up here. You got the window's got to come up here.
What's up, buddy?
I'm trying to get my screen to come up, and it's not now. Right,
okay. As you guys always know, those little gremlins are always in our tech. So, but Tom runs a pretty, we have a virtual studio and we have things that we can do a lot of stuff with. So sometimes those little gremlins that can do their own little thing. It can be very frustrating.
Well, I just
did we get it?
I just sensed one of my. I have a hidden window. That is it like to open a file, and somehow it's for one program, but it got behind another one. It's stopping everything from working.
Why are you doing us wrong? Why are you playing with our hearts like that, huh?
No, I can't get the mouse over there to close it.
While Tom is doing that.
All right. Well, the article talks about. I'll just switch over and read it. We'll go from there and then talk about this shocking 97% crash in Ripple XRP value locked. What does it mean? XRP went on a wild ride. A while ago, the altcoin went through serious crash in its value at the beginning of the month of August. Then the bulls were able to stage a V-shaped recovery. Blah blah blah. Bring it back up into the 6 cents or 60 cents area. However, the total value locked within the protocol is a metric that can provide various insights. The thing is, though, each blockchain is built with a different purpose, and it's important not to rush any conclusions based on total value locked. But data from the popular analytics firm DeFi reveals that the Ripple blockchain saw a shocking crash on October 12th. It dropped from 12 million to below 300,000, registering roughly a 97% decline, which means the money is coming out of it. But that's not really, I'm not really talking about the locked value in the chain. What I'm talking about is Ripple, the company. Whenever they make partnerships, you see news about them all the time. Or a new partnership with Uzbekistan, new partnership with Liechtenstein, testing things with the CBDCs in Montserrat, or wherever it is. Pre-Rocket says, I like XRP. Not after I talk about it. The problem is that there is not actually a direct link between Ripple and XRP.
Yep.
It's not like a stock, which can have dividends or conveys ownership. They issued this token, and it sits out there, and they just suck money out of it. Every month, they get a token allocation from their foundation, and they sell it to the tune of a couple $100 million here and there, sometimes only $50 million, to fund their operations. P-Rocket says, if they go to 10 cents, buy more. Well, if they go to 10 cents, you could buy more because they may go to 20 cents, and you give yourself an X.
Yeah.
But there is nothing that connects the Ripple company to the XRP token. And so what people do say, though, is that, well, if their projects get going and their ledger is used, well, then the XRP token will be used. Right. It'll be used basically as gas, not as an investment. It'll be used just as a token to mark, what happened on a blockchain. And that is not an inflationary or price inflationary thing. It just, blockchain volume does drive price sometimes, but a lot of times it doesn't, especially when it's cheap and or free, or close to being free. So not only that, but let's not forget that Ripple is doing a lot of products that don't involve. They're spending most of their time trying to get CBDCs going in various countries around the world. And those things don't use XRP. They don't use the Ripple or the XRP blockchain and ledger and that type of stuff. So there's no link to it. So there's only sell pressure, but the army keeps buying it up. And so I say, is it going to go to zero? Is it going to go to zero? No, it's not going to go to zero. But eventually there's going to be a time when people realize, hey, there's no link to this. What's going to happen is Ripple's going to go public at some point. Or are they public already? Are they public? No. Eventually they're going to go public, right? Ripple.
I'm pulling it up right now, so I'm looking right now.
Just so I don't speak out of my... Yeah. No, that's XRP. No, they're not. Why don't I know this one off the top of my head?
And so, okay, keep going, though, what you were saying, because you had to...
Okay, the only thing that's out there is the price of XRP, not share price. So they're not a public company yet. They're going to go public someday, and they'll have to disclose in their documents that there is no actual link to the token.
They are not. So let me interrupt real quick.
And their share price, their shares they're issue,
not.
Yeah, will have to be the representative of the ownership, not the token. So everyone with XRP is basically you have a future of being kicked out with the short bus people, and there's no graduation ceremony for you. And I know that sounds like harsh to say, like, well, you're all screwed. That is obviously my opinion. But when I look at it, when I look at everything, when I read these articles and I say, another new partnership for Ripple, which could be a multi-zillion dollar event for them, and then the price of XRP goes down, or, maybe there's a tiny little pump, but then goes down. Because I think a lot of the XRP army actually does realize that, hey, they're in this to win it. Most of them are underwater, or they've DCA'd like crazy, to be at least break even, and there's no real future. There's no, XRP's not going to $50, like someone said. A multi-trillion-dollar market cap. XRP's not. It's just not going to happen. Even if the U.S. Treasury said, oh my God, we're going to use it. Obviously XRP's speculation would go up 10,000x in 5 seconds, but it would go down 10,000x the next 5 seconds. When people realized that there wouldn't be any gas used if the U.S. Treasury used it, because they couldn't pay a private company to transact our own dollar-denominated things. So it's just there doesn't seem to be any future for me on the XRP front. I have not ever been an investor in XRP except in the old Robin Hood days when you'd trade sitting on the shitter, see who could earn the most money during a crap. And I miss those days. Anyway, and so we talk about this. I know B Rocket, you're in on it. We've had some other people here in on it. I know Pedro likes the XRP when it gets to certain levels, because I can tell because this chart has 88 different lines on it.
That's fine.
And so I know that a lot of people love it out there, and their army is thick, but unfortunately, I would say their army is being led by a blind general. And I'm not criticizing their CEO. That was just an analogy. Obviously, Brad Garlinghouse has done something amazing. Has made a whole bunch of people believe in something that isn't there. That's that's it. Well, thank God, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus, the Lord and Savior, has showed up. Good morning, Chumbalones and Chumbalinas. Thank you, Jesus, for showing up. Really appreciate it. We're talking XRP here today, and how it's my opinion that it has zero future, and there's nothing going on with XRP as far as price appreciation except speculation. Obviously, with speculation, there's no rules for that. I mean, the right words get tweeted about, and FOMO happens, and all of a sudden XRP goes blowing. Yeah, I knew there was someone else here. We were talking about there's no future with XRP because the Ripple company's profits and their income is not linked to the XRP token at all. So they can announce all the projects they want, all this kind of stuff. It eventually, every month they got to sell the token in order to pay their salaries, and they're massive employees. They have so many employees. I don't even know what they do. Forget the lawsuit. Yeah, the lawsuit. So that's history now. Now it's time to put up or shut up. And they're putting up, but everyone's shutting up because there's no income that drives the XRP token. None of their projects will be using the ledger. None of the things they're trying to sell use the ledger enough to make the price appreciation. I'll sell someone, pay myself. And I'm sure, hopefully, the algorithm will pick this up, talking about XRP and Ripple, and throw it in front of the XRP army people on Twitter and YouTube, and we'll get a whole host of mean comments and that type of stuff. Jesus, what are they selling? There's a Ripple Foundation and a Ripple corporate entity. The Ripple Foundation, like all blockchains, is the one that founded it and is deemed to manage it, the blockchain. And the corporation is separate from that. And Solana's like that, Cardano's like that, everyone is like that. And when the price went all crazy and that kind of stuff, XRP sold tons of it to get money. Then they said, hey, wait a minute, we've got all these employees and this high operational cost, and no one's buying our product. We need to sell more tokens. So every month they get an allocation from, and they publish this. This is not a secret. They publish it all the time. How many tokens they get and how many of them they're going to be selling for operations. And they do that so the market can price that in. So they're not dumping on anybody, or even though they are, they're just telling people they're going to dump on them. And so they sell their own token. And that's why there's never, no matter how much people buy XRP, it never really goes up, because every month they sell a couple $100 million worth of it to fund their operations. If you go to Ripple and look at their job openings, and these are high-end crypto engineering jobs and stuff like that they got to pay $200,000 to specialist code programmers and that type of stuff. They have tons of jobs open. And that means they have lots of employees. And you go to LinkedIn and see all the people that work for Ripple. You can't even believe it. Their payroll is high. And that's coming out of whose pocket? Your pocket, ladies and gentlemen. For you XRP holders, everyone that works for XRP is being paid by your exit liquidity.
That's exactly. Right. Unfortunately.
Can I make a Jesus token and use it for donations? Yes, you can. There's actually there's been lots of God and Jesus tokens out there. In fact, the Jesus token was one of the first projects on season 1, episode 1 of Rugged, Ruined, and Wrecked that I covered. It was actually pretty good. I liked that one. I liked it a lot. Anyway, to the people on X watching, thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks for listening to my diatribe about XRP. A lot of stuff. It's what I personally believe. And also, it's my hope that it generates some kind of brouhaha to help get our numbers up.
I want to throw something out your way because I'm going to play the devil's advocate.
All right.
Let's say that they decide to start to court the coin, right? Because here's the thing. If that coin goes up, they can sell less coin and get more money, right? So let's say they start to court it.
Could be the infinite money machine.
It very much could, because they've got an amazing community, right? And here's the thing: when they sell less, when the price goes up, they sell less coin. So they're able to sell it. So it's that infinite money machine can keep going for a long time. The higher it goes. So how about this? Here's the thought: that they decide they're going to start doing small buybacks.
Hold on, your mic disappeared, Pedro.
And you're pulling up Rugged, Ruined, and Wrecked.
Yeah, all of a sudden the thing started working here. No, I was showing. I was just sending the link to Jesus there about the God token. I keep sending them scams, but they keep FOMOing. One of my best lines. Turn that off. Get your screen back up there. All right, go ahead with your devil's advocate here.
No, I just want you to talk about, what would you do if, like, they said, okay, we're going to start doing buybacks based off the company itself. So as they, because you have to go through, like you said, that all it is just liquidity, right? So partly as people buy the coin and interact with that, within their system, their ecosystem, that's part of their exit liquidity, obviously, right? So they sell off as people buy and they're able to make income. And now granted, it's probably through more of the insider system, the OTC. But on the back end, if they were to simply start taking money that they make within their ecosystem, because they're a business, and start to actually develop it, and then they start doing buybacks, that could send in a huge amount of flurriness when it comes to just buying more of, and them simply announcing this would cause their customer base, community, to literally go through and push this coin back up to $2, $3 potentially, right? Because all of a sudden it's like, oh great, now we have a supportive side, and it could even be 5%, 3% of the annual growth that they make from creating CBDCs, right, for governments. Right. And that in itself would still be, and this for me, I don't like them because they're pandering to CBDCs for small countries and mid-sized countries. So it's almost like they haven't really pushed it here in America, but other places they definitely are. So this is where I sit there I'm a little timid to sit there push this. But if they simply just said we're going to do buybacks with the money that we make from our actual business, I think that would cause a huge influx of buyers and a new support levels as we move forward. What are your thoughts?
But they got to sell the token.
But let's say they sell the token based off of, like, yes, they still sell the token, but they have a net buying. So, for example, at the end of the year, they sit there and they go, okay, we have an additional 10%, 15% that we've made this year. We're going to take 3%. We're going to buy the token.
Well, that's true. I mean, obviously, corporate America does that with stock buybacks, right? And if they can get the token price to
start declining,
appreciate, they don't have to sell as many tokens and that type of stuff in order to fund operations. So I would agree with you that if they can, get the infinite money machine going a little bit, that obviously would help, and the price of the token would go up, I believe. But then what happens is that there's still a limit on how many. They've sold so many billions of tokens. They've sold. Their supply is dwindling, and if the price goes up, they can't buy those back. The same amount back. They'll be buying. They sell a couple 100 billion tokens. They can only buy back, 50 million of them, so forth.
Well,
obviously, if the price goes up, that doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. Is that that if they go through and they start to sit there and they say, okay, we're gonna buy it back here, so they sell it off. They're the primary sellers of their token to fund their business. But sooner or later, as countries take over. Now that was by accident. As countries take over and start to use their CBD system that creates a internal money loop for them, right? Because they create it, they establish it, they maintain it. That's big money. You can charge large companies and set up your corporation within that country in a sense to just pay you. And then all of a sudden they set up the money loop within XRP or within the token, and it just simply just starts to put new bottoms in. Put new bottoms. Yeah, you'll have your fluctuation of the sell-off, but your point is this: is as it falls, you come in and you buy, and then you're going to also have other buyers within your community. They see it and they're like, okay, great, right? So it's like, I look at it like from that standpoint of they already have a great community. I mean, their community is almost religious. I mean, they've drank the juice. You know what I'm saying?
They drank the juice. Sorry, they made the juice too.
Yeah, they did. Yes, I would agree. So, what is the all crap?
Hold on, I'm just relaunching this program.
All right, actually, give me one second. I actually got to use the little boys' room here real quick. I'll be back in literally a few minutes, so give me a minute.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, give us 1 second here on intermission. Do 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 do. Program still launching. So that's I know there's a bunch of you out there that are XRP fans, and I'm sure the Twitter feed is or X feed is filled with them too. But like I said, that's my opinion. That's how I look at things. I'm like, everybody was stoked about XRP because of all the products Ripple can do and have and all this type of stuff. And then when I realized there was no link to it, there's no link from Ripple to the XRP token itself. Even Pedro's comment, well, they could buy back the XRP token. Well, they could buy back Dogecoin. It's like when a company renounces, when a project renounces a contract, but are still the devs of it. Like anyone can come in and say, okay, it's a renounced contract. We're the devs now, and we're the community. And so, I mean, what XRP should do is send the XRP token off to the community and say, all right, it's a community takeover project. I fail to understand how it's gonna grow and prosper. That I even restarted the program and it's still slow as F. The things I complain about, oh my god. CTO. Oops, got that going again. All right, some of the other things we wanted to talk about today, besides firing up the Ripple people, is the U.S. government. The Democrats in charge are wanting Bitcoin to go away, as we all know. And Mr. Biden is still the president. He's still President Biden, and he hates everything to do with crypto. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because nobody's bribed him in it yet. That's just hearsay. But they're selling. Apparently, they're selling Bitcoin and causing a lot of the dumps and stuff like that. Is it troublesome? Says I don't trust XRP, Sol, or ADA or insert. Right. It's still crypto. Remember, everyone's out for themselves in it. Jesus says 3 tokens I hold. Yep. Anyway, the U.S. government's selling its Bitcoin to the tune of billions of dollars. And the general thought is that they're trying to make the Republicans look bad by talking about crypto, yet during the election cycle, the price of Bitcoin goes down. In which it's the summer, it's August right now, but we all know what's coming. Pumptober's coming. We all know that happens in October. Past couple of Octobers, everything's pumped. Everything's pumped. Why? I don't know in October. There's not like people get extra money and put it in their pockets. It's not like, Christmas bonus season. I don't know. But all I know is every October, I'm broke. I don't have any money in October. It's not how the striking finances work. 2 kids in university. So there's, the powder keg is dried. So I never get to participate in Pumptober. And that'll have a big effect on the election. If in October we see a big pump again, and the Democrats are like, no, crypto, you guys suck, and the Republicans are like, hey, yeah, crypto's great. Well, that can only be good for, Mr. Trump's candidacy. The trouble says we'll see how that works for you.
What's happening?
I was just talking about the U.S. government's been selling its Bitcoin and it's unloading some. And it's talking about because it's likely a political football. One side is saying hold that shit, and the other side is saying Bitcoin is evil. And so one side is trying to make the other side look bad by selling it, depressing the price, all that type of stuff. But ultimately, the U.S. government doesn't hold enough Bitcoin to damage the market. I mean, you got to sell a lot and get the market makers and exchanges and miners to sell a lot to really tank the market in Bitcoin.
Yep.
Because there's buyers. I mean, there's lots of buyers. There's buyers when you have your chart up. There's all those spots that are buyers and those aren't just like, I'm going to buy 1 Bitcoin. Those are Michael Saylors out there saying, I'm going to buy 1,000 Bitcoin.
El Salvador, you just have countries now that are just simply buying it as a hedge. I mean, it's now at a point where it's, we're watching the US dollar completely crumble and which is throwing a lot of stuff off right now again.
But Petro, it's crumbling. But
here's the thing. I'm not talking against it.
That's not. I'm saying it's but everyone else's currency is crumbling too. It's not like the U.S. is going in the tank and everyone else is like, well, everything's fine here. Everyone's is crap. There's no currency in the world right now that is like, wow, everything's fine with it. Everyone's a dumpster fire.
Yeah, let's not speak about that because I think we can get into a geopolitical situation that is it's honestly over my head. I mean, I try to stay up with it, what's actually going, but I mean, like I said, what I'm saying from a technical standpoint is this, right? Is that it's coming down to a lower level here. As this goes down, the rest of the currencies go up, potentially. Okay. And so right now, the yuan, right, as this is pushing down and everybody else is kind of either going down or going up, one thing that we can guarantee, right, I'm gonna say guarantee because nothing's guaranteed, but that the need for Bitcoin, because of what's happening with blockchain and the increase of adoption of blockchain and the transaction fees that you could get and make money from, that is a form of a way so you can sit there and say, well, at least I can at least have this money, because if my currency goes to crap and if the US dollar goes to crap, I've got some form of stability here that I can interchange between other countries, right? And so obviously I don't see BRICS taking over, right? I honestly don't now. I mean, the way I see it and how certain things are set up, I've retracted my thought process. But on the back end, I still see the fact that we are going down, and and in the same sense, this makes it advantageous for people to do business here in America because their currency are going up, which then stimulates what? Our economy. Hence, once our economy gets stimulated, what do we see? Inflation. And you have a doom circle that happens. And then what happens when that happens? Either is Powell going to raise rates? Well, we have a lot of numbers that are kind of been fibbing over the past couple years. And
Pedro, why don't you bring that one up? I think it's time for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've seen over the past few years, and I keep talking about this, where I do think that the job numbers, the unemployment numbers, a lot of those things are skewed. I don't think that they're real because we keep seeing major revisions that are happening. Now, even in the past job numbers, Powell said, I don't think that's true. Meaning, he thought that it was actually going to be a little worse, and so that kind of messed a couple. And he was very small, it was kind of something that was overlooked. But the reality is this: is even there isn't cohesiveness within the SEC, Treasury, and/or what's actually happening with the Fed. And so I honestly think that this is a system that is being manipulated for a certain group of people that are in leadership within the U.S. And so as these numbers keep getting brought out, they revise these numbers. And we had quite a bit. Over the scale of jobs, right? I think, Tom, you said it was 5% over the year. But the reality is this
0.5%.
Yeah, 0.5%, so 0.5%. But in the same sense, I think it's much more than that. I do think it's much more than that, than what we're seeing today.
Carmen Crypto in the house. Thank you for joining us, Carmen Crypto.
What's up, Carmen? How you doing? And so I just think what we're seeing, and it was a major news because we keep saying we're not in recession, but the numbers are tending towards that we're going into recession. The overall sentiment in America, you talk to the average layperson who's working, they're working less hours. Our hours are being cut. People have to work more hours, and it's not delineated between once somebody goes over a certain period of time that it just gets basically pushed off. It's like it just fades. And I get it that our economy is much more complicated than what it's been over the past 100 years, but at least sit there and account for that instead of saying that number just when Luke Skywalker goes, we are not the droids you are looking for, right? It's almost like what they're doing to us. These are not the numbers you are looking at, and you're like, so it's very frustrating to me to sit there and see what's actually happening. But on the back end, it was very interesting that they did release those numbers, and it was pushed throughout all of the media to sit there and look at what's actually happening. It was over 800,000 jobs that needed to be revised, and it was quite a bit over the short period. But again, they brought that up, they revised that back in March, and so I think we're going to see as time progresses and we get the real numbers that we're actually going to see. Let's say as we get close to November. And they revise more numbers, we're going to see a descending, a downward market that as they revise, there'll be more and more jobs. But they can't come out with these jobs because the current administration would look really bad.
Right. Well, here, a good example here is Troublesome says, I agree with Pedro. I read a book years ago called How to Lie with Statistics, written by Daryl Huff in 1954. Even this is a great example of it, and Pedro and I are looking at this from two different perspectives with the same numbers. Pedro's looking at the $818,000, meaning that, or 818,000 jobs, as basically a quarter of what they reported as the change. The change was, roughly 4 million jobs or something like that. and they were off by 818,000. That's a lot. That's a big part of 4 million, right? But the total amount of jobs, which they actually count, is 159 million jobs or something like that. Non-farm payroll jobs that they count. And they're off by 818,000. That's 0.005, a half a percent. So when you look at it that way, it's like, well, it's not that bad. I mean, most kind of things say we have a 1 or 2% error rate, and it's, a lot lower than that. However, I agree with Pedro here. Excuse me. I agree with Pedro here is that there's something fishy going on because that's their biggest number ever. And they have more computers than ever now. I mean, there's more databases, there's more computers, there's more spreadsheets. You probably can ask artificial intelligence how many people are working today. Well, everyone's working except Jim in Michigan. He called in sick. And the fact that they go from making small errors to 818,000. I mean, that's a lot. They were off in manufacturing. You read this article. They're off in manufacturing 115,000 jobs. That's a lot of manufacturing jobs that they're like, oh, well, we didn't know about that, And that's a tremendous amount. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of those manufacturing jobs. I'd say about 20% are union jobs. Unions report memberships. They want people to know how much they're growing. So I find it very fishy, especially, Pedro, you said it was reported after hours at a time when there's lots of other news going on.
Yeah, I mean, you have the Democratic Party going on right now, conference, or what do they call it?
Convention.
Convention. You have all these things. And so it's not going to be reported. People aren't going to sit there and see. If this was done any other period in time, it would have definitely been a big deal. But it's not. It was funny because I even brought up, so me and Tom were talking about shorting this and waiting for it. And I told him, I said, be careful, man, because they'll kind of stop you out and then take it in the directions as you want. So you need to make sure you have a trending SMA that's going to be moving. I don't know if you took the short, but it was really interesting to sit there and see. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hold on. Sorry. Troublesome says, still 8-bit, though. They need time to crunch the numbers. So this is what I got to say for you.
That's funny. I'm thinking of all my
got all my 8-bit sounds here.
That's awesome. That's absolutely funny, dude. But all right. So for example, yesterday, we were talking about the short here, and I told Tom, I said, Tom, be careful as we're moving, because the reality is I could sit there and see them just kind of pushing up to stop everybody out. And so I said, here's the zone, the last zone before we go to the very top. And I said to him, I said, this is the S&P 500. And literally, they push it up. They stop everybody out.
Hold on one second. The screen is switching back to yours. It's just taking a few seconds here to do that. More than a few seconds.
Bueller.
There we go.
So you can see here that they literally push it up above this red line, which is the last kind of zone before we get to the next, till we get to all-time highs here on the S&P 500. But look, they stop everybody out, and then they drop it. And it was funny, is I was going to let you know to get short around 11 o'clock when we were kind of getting going, but I forgot. Like, this area here would have been the perfect area just to come back up and test at that 200, right, as we're moving down. So, these are...
I'm not sure I have anywhere to trade the S&P 500.
I thought you were going to put a push, or not a push, a put on, you put a put on the SPYs. You could short the SPYs, right? The put would allow you to leverage, a 10-to-1 leverage.
Yeah.
So, put in $50, see if you can make 500. But this right here was a big drop. I mean, it's below the lows here of the previous day. Again, which is something that is indication of, yeah, it's probably going to continue down at least to the 8 period, which is going to be the 55
Oh, yeah.
area.
I can trade those on Robinhood. How about that?
Yeah, look at that. How about that? Meet me out.
Oh, my phone's got 5%. I'll be right back. I got to go get the cord for it.
Oh, that's all good. So it's just like one of those things that it's very hard for me right now to really trust certain numbers because we keep revising the numbers at a greater level. And that to me just screams market manipulation. There is more ability in today's world to really nail down those things. So I think we're going to see greater and greater revisions as we continue towards to November, and I almost feel like they're going to like almost just stop doing it. Part of me is because it's potentially going to keep Kamala from getting elected. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens as we move forward. Speaking of that, did you see that Trump and his sons stupidly created their own like meme coin / like? Did you see that?
Yeah, what is it? It's called the
Defiant. I think it was, or what is it called?
The Defiant ones.
Yeah, the Defiant ones. And I'm like sitting there going like, dude, come on, man. Like you're asking like I'll put it like this. People already had a negative connotation to what happened in was it January 19th? When was the well, some people don't believe it was an insurrection, some people believe it does. When was potentially the Capitol raided? What day was that?
January 6th.
January 6th, forgive me, right? The day that will be marked down in infamy, whatever. All right. But I bring this up because this is a really interesting thought. This man is already kind of looked at, he's been put on, the jury as in like inciting this and causing this to happen. And then you come out with the coin that calls yourself the Defiant Ones. Like, dude. Like
they're gonna make so much effing money,
dude. Yeah, it's gonna. I actually
the red states will FOMO right into that. They'll FOMO just like they FOMO'd into his media company and everyone lost their money. Just like they FOMO'd into his NFT collection and everyone lost their money. He made billions from that, and essentially everyone chalked it up to like, well, it was a free campaign donation. We gave him a whole bunch of money. He needs it. Yeah. He doesn't need it. You need it. You guys can keep your own money.
Look at this.
Carmen says, I attended the Rare Evo conference last week, ramping up for a virtual conference in October. I heard the Rare Evo conference was pretty good. One of the guy on Zach Humphrey's shows went to it and had a big thing. Crypto, yes, you do need to come on for a catch-up. Talk about what's going on. And hold on, let me get to your other comment here. Carmen saying, great job at the conference in Toronto, guys. You even met Jackie Cooper from the Blockchain Legal Institute. Yep. Yeah, met her, interviewed her. She has a new product out. She's an attorney. One of the things that you and I and many people in crypto don't think about is, as they say, what happens when your estate planning case matures? It means when you die, your estate planning case matures. What happens with your crypto? What do you do with it? Who owns it? Who gets it? And can they get it? Even if you leave instructions, here's the seed phrases, for my wallets. Do the people that get those seed phrases even know what to do? They've got 12 words. Do they know it's important? Do they know, what to do with your money or their money now that you're looking at the daisies from the other side of the earth? And so she has a whole new publication about that. And so I had her on the live stream at the show talking about that. And I know many of us are young in this, especially me. I'm quite young. I have many, many decades before I expire.
God willing.
And so we don't really think about that. But you do need to think about it. Because even if you don't die, even if you get in a car accident and you're in a coma or just stupid from it, and you've got a big project that is migrating to a new thing, and if you don't migrate in time, you're out. Like a good example is Audit Chain here, one of our sponsors. They migrated from ETH to Poly, and they gave people a year. And they did that. They gave me a year because there were some people with investment money and all types of stuff. And they said, well, you have a year to migrate. And after that, the ETH contract goes away and dies. And anyone who doesn't migrate, there's not going to be any liquidity, and so your tokens will be zero. And still people showed up. Oh, I didn't watch it. I didn't, whatever. And some people were like, I got these things from a relative or, that passed or something like that. If there was one person like that, I don't know what to do with them. Well, you missed the migration, so your 10 grand is worth zero. So the Blockchain Legal Institute has a whole paper about it and what to do and all that type of stuff. And so maybe we'll get, it's not a great, we're not going to get 1,000 viewers from that case, but it's good information. You got to plan for the future. I personally have stuff written down and held with certain close friends. So in case I get hit by that concrete truck, in the road, my $48.83 in my SafeMoon wallet can be recovered.
Watch one day, dude. Like it's something weird happens, and because it's only it's crypto, something crazy happens, and you just see SafeMoon like go to $1 billion again, and you're like, holy crap! I had a friend of mine who was a millionaire, had his SafeMoon up to $1 million, and so it was like he still talks about that. It's like only if I had sold. And at the time, there was so much liquidity to it. Like he could have easily offloaded that $1 million, and he totally would have been good.
Carmen says she has the book from the Blockchain Legal Institute. Look at that. Carmen is also an advisor to the Blockchain Legal Institute, so she has the book. But it was good talking to Jackie at the show. What else did you post about? Let's see. Something about Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor did a 1-hour speech on the MicroStrategy conference and why there's no second best to BTC. Now, he's the ultimate shill. And that's because Michael has created the infinite money machine. Good for him. Very few people get to do that. But he has done it. And he's probably going to be the richest man in the world one day.
Yeah. I could see that. Like, if Bitcoin, he's already rich now. He's worth a couple bill, right? But the fact is, he keeps just funneling so much money into Bitcoin. It's inevitable.
We were talking about this on the show when Bitcoin was at 19,000, 20,000, and we were talking about what if he was leveraged, what his where his margin call would be, and we're like, oh, his margin call is going to be at 26,000. It's at 23. Man, he's screwed. He's laughing at us. He laughs at us every day. Those morons have no idea what they're talking about. Because now he's got, how many billions of dollars worth of it, and his cost basis is, many billions less than that. And one day those things are going to be worth $1 trillion. He's going to be sitting there going, I told you so. Told you so, MFers. I told you so.
Pretty much. But I also see him as the type of guy that would potentially probably help people out and give it away.
Jesus says, I still hold SafeMoon. You want some?
Sad day. Wah, wah, wah.
D-Rocket says, SafeMoon was too good to be true, literally. Yeah, I agree. I know that too. Because when it was pumping, everything was going well. It had tax on it, still pumping. The volume was crazy high. And people are getting all those reflections. People telling me they're going to retire. Like 30-year-old people, I'm going to retire and just live off my SafeMoon reflections. And people are quitting jobs and things like that. And we're just fucking off on their jobs because they're making $1,000 a day in SafeMoon reflections. And I remember telling you, I've told you this, Pedro. I had conversations with other people saying, you really think that this group of idiots from Utah you're going to put your retirement in their hands, and they're going to be around every day until you die. I said, you're crazy. There's no way. Oh, yeah, they got a good product that's going to go on. I said, there's no chance. First of all, this thing's got a tax on it. Eventually, the volume's going to go to way down, which came true. And I said, look at the one guy, the CTO guy. I said, the dude's stoned on TV right now. And you expect him to be a quality leader? No, the other guy. Now they're all in the joint. They're on their way to the joint. All those people got wrecked. They got wrecked. Investing in their retirement, yeah. Anyway, Pedro, as they say, we're getting long in the tooth today, trying to keep regular hours on the show here. So it's anyone's got anything you want Pedro to review or topics for us to talk about, let us know now. I know Pedro still has a few more things to talk about here.
I did want to talk about so Avalanche. They are actually, so there are a lot of companies like, and I bring this up because Templeton is a major contributor, and I wouldn't say contributor, but they have a lot of assets under management, and they're really into crypto. And they built up a few, like they have a Bitcoin ETF in addition. But what I find really interesting is their money market fund. They're really putting a lot of money into this and using crypto as a funding mechanism. So it's really interesting to see a lot of institutional money really seeing the ability of a way to actually generate income from crypto. And I just think that's really interesting what they're doing. They actually went through, as well as, you would almost think that I'm like sponsored by him, but I'm not. I mean, not yet, right? But I sit there and I'm like, this idea of what they're doing in crypto, and their CEO literally said, he goes, TradFi is completely clueless of the scalability of Bitcoin and how much it could truly run. And I think it's one of those things that most people don't understand the scalability. Like they say, well, how can one coin be traded? It's crazy. And they don't understand what, how variable you can use one Bitcoin. There's, there's 100 million Satoshis in it, right? We saw yesterday on the show with Cole, right? He sent Jesus, our Lord and Savior, over there, what do you call it? Bitcoin, through, and he got him.
Yeah, he sent him some sats.
Yeah,
sent him 5,000 sats.
And that in itself just shows, and which was $5, right? It was like $5. But it's this idea of the variability of it allows true commerce that could actually happen. And so I just find it really interesting to sit there and say, like, again, we keep, you say we're new to crypto, dude. Like even the 5% that have owned crypto don't understand it. Or excuse me, 40%. The 40% that don't even understand it. And maybe 1% out of that 40% kind of understands it. Like we're still very few. When as soon as I start talking about blockchain and actually how like you can't hide it. And once I was just talking to a guy yesterday where he was literally saying, well, the dark market uses this to do this and this. And I said, bro, that's not how it works. Like you can follow somebody, and if you get like as soon as you pull that money out and make it into a real account, you're screwed. Like it will always be in the digital world. Like you can't pull that out if you're doing it that way. And so it's like the majority of the individuals who look at crypto don't understand the grand scheme of it and what it can actually do. So I just think it's really interesting to see that you see this, major institutional corporate entity understanding it and realizing, dude, it's the scalability of it and the viability of a long-term asset / income producing product is it's vast. So I just find that really interesting. That's it in a nutshell. I just want to talk about that. So with them and why I thought that was really dope for them to sit there and say that.
Coolio. Well, we got suddenly we have a busy week next week, Pedro.
Yes,
I've got it's just a couple of times during today's show you might have seen me zone out a little bit, but I was actually working the scheduling thing here.
Okay.
On let's see, on Wednesday. Let me go back and do this in order here. Let's go back to on Monday. We're gonna have the gentleman on from Cutify. Cutify is a DEX of some sort. To be honest, I don't know what they are. They just got on the list. They're a Defi Dojo sponsored segment.
Mm-hmm.
And they supposedly are revolutionizing decentralized finance with an innovative revenue share model. And so in other words, they're the small fees that DEXs and charge people you can get part of that kicked back to you. They have a whole ecosystem they're building and all this type of stuff. I'll leave the comments, full comments about that for them to talk about. And on Tuesday, we're going to have DeFi Sean on and maybe Squidrow Joe on from Operation Phoenix about their new Infinian blockchain. I'd have the Infinian page up. Or Infinian. I don't know how to say it. Nobody must know how to say this because nobody's corrected me on it. And so they're going to be on talking about their new blockchain and what's going on with them. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have the guys from Max Capital. Max, have you heard of the Max chain, Max blockchain?
Yeah.
Nyan and maybe Kevin, who Pedro and I met at the Futurist Convention in Toronto, are going to be on the show to talk about what's going on with them. They got a lot going on. They're one of those projects that launched with actual real utility behind it. And the first kind of area they're bringing their financing to is the trucking industry. A lot of the trucking industry works on credit and financing, and that is hard to obtain and expensive. And they're trying to make it easier to obtain and less expensive. And like I said, for the QDFi guys, I'll let them explain it when they come on the show on Wednesday. So suddenly a busy week next week, Pedro.
Woohoo! Awesome. Well, I look forward to that. Tom, so like you said, long in the tooth. Man, are we going to be doing our FRF?
Full Rant Friday tomorrow.
Yeah, it
I
is.
believe it's already the end of the week.
I know, dude.
This week has gone by so fast. It's been
lightning
unbelievable.
Lightning quick. Yeah. So, are we still on for tomorrow, or what are your thoughts?
Wait, so today's Thursday, right?
Today is Thursday. I'd agree.
Yeah. So we're on tomorrow. Full Rant Friday. Around the middle of the day sometime. You guys will see it posted. Bring all your rants. Bring all your complaints. You complain, we'll entertain. We'll make the gaffes, you laugh.
Yes, sir. That's
and I am red. I got my camera all jacked up here, and I am looking like I just came out of the microwave oven here, but I'm much more pasty white than that right now.
Yes.
Tan is faded.
Time to go back to Florida. Speaking of Florida, we might be doing some another conference up there in Miami. I'm actually talking with the guy.
My jammy.
And so we'll see what happens. You might be able to get fully funded and taken care of. So we'll see what's up. Be real fun. We'll see what happens.
I can't go by with that. I gotta practice this pitch, so I'm gonna do it. Let's see. And I would love to get it in the YouTube algorithm here. This pitch here. Where is our website? If you haven't been to our website, you gotta check it out. I'm very proud of it. I did it all myself over about 6 bourbons in 3 different nights. Where is it? DYOR
Media.
Network.media. Here we go. Here's our stuff here. Even broadcasts our show live here. Yep. Love that. You can just watch the show right from our website. All our different shows and all that type of stuff. Yada yada blah blah blah. Trade with our sponsor BidFi. Thank you very much. All our on-air personalities, which I hope to be adding soon. Not soon, but hope to be adding as we grow like crazy, ladies and gentlemen. But this is the important page here. Sponsor our shows or hire our personalities. Get your brand to the right audience or get the right speaker for your community. Hire us. Yes, we will whore our brand out, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a very professional way of saying that, but it is the crypto world after that. Product placement, segment sponsors, technology sponsors, trade show partners, you name it, we want to do it. For example, other projects have hired me to run their podcasts. That I've produced live events for people that I have not appeared on camera, just done their live events. And then Pedro and I recently did the trade show and took over the Blockchain Futures Convention's live stream for them to provide expert commentary on. So these are the types of things we do. If you have a project, first of all, if you're watching this far into the show, we love you. Second of all, if you have a project or something like that, get in touch with us. This is what we do. Yeah, I'm getting better at that pitch, but I got to do it at the beginning of the show.
You sound really good. Yeah, you really are doing good. You know what? Do a little pitch so I can send that to people and say, hey, this is what we do. Come check us out. And then I put our website down there, and it'd be a good little marketing tool for me. So.
I'll try to convert that page into like a PDF so people can read it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
On their own time.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. Thank you guys so much for coming in today. And if you don't mind, please hit that like, sub, and subscribe, and share button if you can. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, good times. We had a new guy come in today, right? What was his name?
B Rocket. Maybe you came in under a different name before, B Rocket. We'd love to know how you found us.
Maybe it's
You're here in the Manila Kick Tracks. That means either the show's starting or the show's ending. Show must be ending. Yes, as Jesus, the Lord and Savior, says, it's the outro. They're pulling the crucifix down. Guy's going to the cave.
There he goes.
It's that time of the day. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we had a good talk today about my opinions on the Ripple and XRP thing. Pedro told us what's going on with BTC Avalanche and a number of other things. Got the jobs report. The U.S. government think they're pulling the wool over eyes on that and doing some funny business with that. And of course, the United States government's also seemingly selling its BTC off, trying to depress the market, make the Republicans look bad in this election season. But as we say, we stick in there. We did a couple of good shows all week. That's all our live shows for the week. I am going to, let me rephrase that. I might show up on Sunday with a special episode. I'm trying to put some footage together of the convention for BidFi, so you might see us go live, or just me go live on that topic on Sunday. But for sure tomorrow, full rant Friday. And you'll be able to, as they say, complain while we entertain. Anyway, on behalf of Pedro Garcia, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media universe. So glad to have hosted another episode of DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. We'll be here for Full Rant Friday tomorrow afternoon. Be there. Carmen gets the last comment.
Oh, Shane comes. Dude, Shane, we were bouncing.
Sorry, Shane. Maybe we'll give you the last comment. What's up? Nothing. Bye.